Alright, well, good morning. This is day 8 on our epic road trip adventure with our Falcon. It is a bright sunny day, beautiful. We are in, where are we? We're in Junction City. Grand Junction. We're in Grand Junction. Let me actually show you on the map. Hold on a second. Alright, so as a review, we're halfway through our trip. We started our trip off in Eureka. And we drove to Alturas for the first night. And we stayed at this great little camp spot just outside the city in the National Forest. It wasn't really a camp spot, it was actually a trailhead, but it was perfect. It had a little fire ring and a picnic table. So that's all the bonuses we really need. From there, we drove north and east through Oregon and over to Ontario, which is just outside Boise. We stayed at this crappy little spot, but we were desperate for sleep. We were basically following the Snake River and the Oregon Trail, which is kind of cool. Then we drove to Boise and checked out the great city of Boise. We had a fantastic time there. There was lots of fun stuff to see in the university. From there, we drove a big loop all the way through Idaho and ended up staying just outside West Yellowstone. Up here. West Yellowstone is right here. It's technically in Montana. From there, we drove into Yellowstone National Park and stayed at a spot right up here at the top of the park, which is kind of the hot and the dry section of the park. Spent the day touring the park. That was really fun. Lots of stinky wet holes and gooey geysers and bubbling mud, which was fun. Then we drove down yesterday through the Grand Tetons National Park and stayed in Pinedale. That was actually a really pleasant spot too. Grand Tetons was pretty to drive. I would say plan on going there if you want to do some big hikes, but it was pretty fast and couldn't really see a whole lot of the road, but it was great mountains. The view. The city of Jackson Hole was crowded, but it could be a fun town if you didn't have to pull a trailer. Then, yesterday, we drove from Pinedale all the way down through here, through the Flaming Gorge. That was pretty. And we ended up staying down here through Vernal, down through Dinosaur, which we were going to take this other route. Our goal is to get to Moab, right? But instead we decided to go through the cool town of Dinosaur, take this other mountain road that cut through, and we're at Grand Junction right now. And it's day 8. So I think our plan is to go to Moab and Arches National Park. Maybe have a less of a driving day today, more of a hanging out and climbing around on some rocks, which I think everybody needs a break from that when driving. Well, so that's our grand plan. Everybody's doing well. The dogs are chilling out a little bit. They're used to sitting in the back of the Jeep. I think we're going to try to maybe, because it's going to be hot, I think we're going to open up the back, open up the roof, and drive topless. Should be good. One thing that we've been trying to do throughout our trip is to capture the leaving the state, welcome to the state signs, and we haven't done a great job at it, but we did manage to capture these two. The magnificent thing about driving through this part of the country is that everywhere you go, the views are just phenomenal on every road, and it's hard to say we should stop and take a picture of this or that, and you almost become desensitized. We're like, everything looks awesome. Or you're like, oh yeah, it's just another magnificent vertical rock wall. Eh. Arches National Park is absolutely amazing. I highly recommend going there and driving around and spending some time. Unfortunately, we never have enough time. There's always places to go, people to see, things to do, and the next magnificent spot. But there are lots of gyms just outside of the park itself, but inside there's lots of little side roads to go explore. Take a risk, go for a drive. Can be phenomenally hot there though, and as much as we had wanted to go hike around, we decided really we would drive around instead. Little side road to Eye of the Whale Arch is totally worth the drive. Most of it looks like this. There are some very rough spots though, and amazingly I did bump the bottom of my Jeep on a rock. Yikes. It's worth the drive though. It's a little bit of a stroll from where you can park to get to the Whale's Tail, but it is so phenomenal, and standing right inside the arch, it's small enough that it captures this cool breeze that blows right through, even though it's hot everywhere else around it. So continuing with our camper-free drive around the park and the surrounding area, we drove up the highway past the campground, following the river, and of course we had to take a bit of a dip to cool down the dogs and me. Hey, this is Bridge from Gnome Buddy Home. We are finishing up day 8 of our epic road trip, and we have spent the day trucking around in Moab and Arches National Park. It is awesome. Our campsite, not quite on the river, it's in one spot from the river, but check it out. This is our view. We have this giant cliff canyon all around us. It is awesome. We went for a great off-road drive up in Moab in the actual Arches National Park. There was a side road just for off-road vehicles that went to Whale's Tail Arch, which was phenomenal. It was a fun road to drive. I wouldn't suggest doing it in your rental car. You might bump the bottom a few times, but other than that, if you weren't worried about it, you could probably do it. Then we took this great drive up Highway 128 and looked at all sorts of fantastic monument buttes, beautiful valley sunsets, and a nice big long loop that ended up putting us way back out at Highway 70, which wasn't quite what we were hoping for, but it's alright. The speed limit here is 80, so without the trailer we could go 80. I've never driven my Jeep that fast. It was a little loose and goosey, but it worked out alright. Tomorrow, I think we're headed south towards New Mexico. Don't know exactly our route yet. We'll have to figure it out, but we're getting there. That's our plan for post-dinner discussions. See you later.